What is going on, guys? And right now I'm starting with the B&M invert just because I wanted to give a little overlay of like some of the coasters I had built before I voiced anything over. But I want to shout some people out because I appreciate the support on the last video. Wyndon Harrell, I really hope I'm saying that. Winton Harrell, I'm sorry, said nice layout and scenery for your B&M, bro. I appreciate that. And then Tommy P, appreciate you so much for this great video. Love your work. That really, that makes me so happy seeing things like that. Like, you do not even know that made my entire week. So I appreciate you for that. But today we are making the dive coaster. Now, in the last episode, the audio was unsynced, and that's why I really appreciate the support, because as soon as I was watching the POV and I heard the chain sound where the chain sound should not be, I was like, oh no, this probably ruined the whole video. And I just really wasn't expecting a lot of support, because I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm enjoying making this content. Playing Planet Coaster on console is the coolest thing, and I want to make sure I get this turn out of the station right for this dive coaster, but it is the coolest thing making realistic coasters on Planet Coaster. Just booting up my Series X, it looks so nice on the console, and just being able to record the whole process of doing it is actually really cool. But today we are building the dive coaster. Now I could really say that every single coaster I've built is my favorite, because this one comes out looking extremely, I want to say realistic, but you know, there will always be those people that if I say it's realistic, they're going to say that it's not. So just the view of watching this drop and go into the dive loop, or the Immelman, reminds me so much of Valraven. That is just absolutely beautiful. And the scenery at the end is nice. Of course, I don't think I made it a hyper. I don't make it as tall as Valraven, but it is still a tall dive coaster. And I'm gonna place the brakes right after the drop, and I'm trying to figure out how to shape this, because I know it doesn't go down too much, and we don't want it to pick up too much speed. So I'm gonna place the friction brake there. Or I think I might have placed a transfer, and that's not what that's supposed to be. Hopefully I end up fixing it. And then I tried to place another one here at the start, but I end up removing that one. And this device here that is in the game, that is used to hold it over the drop, I like that it's in the game, and I really appreciate it, but it is actually not, it's just not realistic. It literally launches you over the start, like to where you get some airtime as you're going over the drop, and then just stops you. So it's just not very realistic in that aspect, and you'll see that when it comes. Oh my goodness, that invert in the back just looks so nice. That really, I love how that came out, just because it's so much like Banshee and the flow of it, and it's just so realistic. I love watching it. But after I end up building this coaster, just sitting and watching these two B&Ms run, I could really do that all day, like waiting for the train to lock up. Like, I could really feel like I'm a photographer in a roller coaster park just by loading this on the Series X. That's just how immersive this game is, and I absolutely love it. So I really want to test out this coaster to make sure that it goes through the dive loop at the right speed, because I don't want it to overshoot it, and of course I don't want it to go extremely slow, which it does at the end. It actually goes through like an empty train on Valraven, so there's going to be some crazy hang time on this inversion. And I also want to thank whoever told me, well, that one doesn't end up making it, but I want to thank whoever told me about the custom friction. I did not use it in this episode, and I don't end up using it in any of these episodes, like currently. This park is actually, I don't want to say it's complete, because I actually am planning on adding an Intamin Giga Coaster, but I have added, I think I counted 5 coasters already. There's an RMC, there's another B&M still to come. So yeah, that would be 5 once I put those in. Those all came out great, and I made a really nice video showcasing just how immersive the park is just going around it with that. But I still have not made the Intamin Giga, so that's still on the docket to do. And the reason I'm doing that is because when I do my sandbox mode, I'm planning on using a B&M Giga and creating an entrance style, sort of like Furies, if that makes sense, where it flies right over the entrance, and that's just what I want to create. So I'm watching this dive coaster test because I want to make sure that it goes through right, but I realize eventually that if I don't place brakes right after the drop, then it's going to go through that turn really fast, and that's just not very accurate. And then that just completely stopped it, which was not good. So I end up turning that back to track and placing the friction back here, and hopefully that'll get us the speed to make it go I want to say realistic, but it's not very. The whole top piece of this coaster is not very realistic. The way that it goes down and stops you, I gotta be honest. I could have done this a little bit better. But you see how it jolts it forward, and I'm sitting here trying to see if I can change that, but I can't. There's no speed setting for it, so that there's no way for me to not have it jolt and do that. But continuing along, I didn't even watch how it went through the Immelman, so I have to replay that, see how this goes. So it goes through the turn a little bit better, and then I still don't like how it does that. And you guys will see in the actual POV how fast it actually speeds it up. So I end up slowing that down a little bit because you still get some laterals on that turn. And this coaster, I can't wait for you guys to see the POV and to see this video I made of it, because I placed this clip in the video just because of how immersive it is. Riding this coaster, I remember riding Valraven and Shikra, and you approach the lift hill and you're on the ground, and next things you know, you are just on this like pretty steep lift hill going up at a slow rate, and then you're on top of it, but you don't feel like you've gained that much altitude until you go over it and really see how up you are, or how high up you are. Going up this lift hill made me feel like I was on one of those dive coasters. That's how immersive it is. You know, hear the sounds of it. I absolutely love this coaster model in the game, and I might even use this exact one. I basically made a copy of Valraven, but I forgot that Valraven turns out the station the other way. So if I would have done that, this honestly, could have been a mere perfect recreation of Valraven. But instead, there's an extra airtime hill, so that's not a bad thing. So the hard part actually is going to be trying to get this turn figured out so that it lines up to the right of the lift hill, but at the same height as well. So that one went almost as high as the drop itself, so that wasn't what we're looking for, and that one was a little tall too. I love just hearing that B&M and watching it in the background is amazing. And then I don't know if I'm not going to make this into an actual park, so having the path right there isn't very realistic, but I do end up opening this coaster to the public. Like, out of all of the rides in the park, I think all of them are testing, and this one, and actually I think this is the only one that I end up opening to the public. This one and that flat ride that you see right behind me, which was perfect that I turned around to do that, because this is, like I said, unplanned commentary. I didn't expect me to turn around right there. So I'm going to see how fast it goes through this Immelman, which even watching it sped up, seeing it go that slow, there's going to be some nice hang time on that. And I want to make sure that there's a nice speed going off into that, which I feel like there is. And this ends up being a complete pain in the butt. And I do not cut these videos very much. Like on the invert, I didn't cut me making the drop, which ended up taking most of the video. But what ends up taking me most of this video is figuring out how to program this mid-course to where it'll slow down and then stop it, or not stop it, but go at a slow enough rate that basically almost creates the same effect, just like most dive coasters have. And that was actually extremely hard, especially because even though I place a friction brake and then a different type of brake after that, both of the settings for those brakes have to be the same. And I don't know if that's a glitch or what, but even when I was clicking like on the other sections, the settings were still the same, and you'll see that here in a second. So I can't make the friction brake slow it down and then have the block brake just keep it going at like 1 mile an hour, if that makes sense. Oh, I froze. I remember doing this while I was voting. I had no clue that I had frozen it. And this one, I think I have a trim and a friction on it now. I end up changing that to probably a trim and then a block brake. But like you see me trying to have two different settings. And when I go back to check the settings that I've made, well, I end up trying to do the drop first. Ooh, the drop on this comes out pretty well. Both of them I'm pretty happy with. Just when you probably already saw the thumbnail, because I think the shot with the dive loop and the drop, I think that shot has to be the thumbnail. It just looks so nice. But the drop, I love how the shaping came out on both of them. Unfortunately, I can't really control how the holdover drop works, so I can't even like control the position. Because watch, it goes a little bit too far over the drop, I would say. Alright, now trying to watch how it goes into this. And that slows it down, honestly. Oh, I was going to say, that would be perfect if it would have kept going. But, of course, I have to make modifications, and I can see the cut coming in the editing because that means I probably cut out a good 10 minutes of me just sitting here replaying it, trying to get it perfect. And now you can see, oh, the night mode, it didn't change because of the cut. That just changed because I was fast forwarding. But you're going to see me sitting here trying to get this right, and it takes so long. Oh, the cut was because, or here we are. So I end up just giving up on it, or I think I might have figured it out a half decent way, and you'll see in the POV it works. It works decently. It's not as perfect as Valravens, and here we go. This is the most annoying glitch in this game. As perfect as this game is, and as much as I love playing it, this glitch happens where I don't know what is happening, but for some reason I have an inversion selected that goes under the ground, which is fine. You know, I'll just select a different one because obviously that's not the inversion I want. But I can't push B. I can't back out of anything. So the only way to save it is to back out of the game and then go back into it and hope that I don't select that inversion again. As unfortunate as that is, like that's the only way to fix it. And I really hope that the developers not see my videos, but I hope that they know this glitch exists. And I accidentally did it again, and I quickly switched back because I was like, no, I didn't mean to do it again. But what I'm looking for is to see if there's any inversion pre-built that reminds me of Valravens, like sort of 0G that, you know, doesn't twist completely out of it, but has a 90-degree turn right after that. So I end up not finding it and not wanting to have the glitch continue to go on. I just decided to build it myself, which when you look at it from off-ride, it looks very nice, but from on-ride, from on-ride and just looking at it from the base angle of it, I started the banking way too early within the hill. But even from that angle, that looks pretty impressive, considering I just freehand built that, and that's not something you're normally able to do in Planet Coaster. I'm pretty proud of that. So I end up not making it as steep as like an ascent, and then making the track pieces a little bit shorter because I don't think it made it through there. And now we have our inversion, and it doesn't look perfect. Like I said, this inversion is probably the most unperfect thing about this entire coaster, but from certain aspects it still looks very cool, and it does pull off the Valraven aspect of just creating some awesome hang time. And then after that, obviously, I want to go down and build a curve to the left. That's a little bit too steep. So is that one. So I end up just trying to make it not as steep as that. Oh my goodness, that angle is just way too steep. And now you see me de-pumping it. Oh, this is not No Limits 2. And I haven't played No Limits 2 in a long time. So the fact that I said de-pumping is actually really weird. So you see how slow I got it to actually go off that. And then going through that. Wow, that's actually too close. That's too close. Valraven doesn't have that much hang time, so I think I end up changing that, making it a little bit shorter. That's funny. Even watching that sped up, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna put the video on like 0.25 speed just to go back and watch that again because of how slow it went. And I did go through and watch this video, and the audio, as soon as I saw that invert video, I was like, oh my goodness, this is my favorite coaster that I built in this park. And because the audio is unsynced, I was really worried that like the video wouldn't be received well. So that's also why I really appreciate the comments, because knowing that the video was still enjoyable with the audio screwed up that's amazing to hear. And this is just such a fun thing to do. Like the fact that I'm so privileged to have an Xbox Series X that I can play Planet Coaster on, and I have a channel that I can upload it with roller coaster lovers, or even if you're not, even if you're just looking for Planet Coaster gameplay, which I know a lot of people are, to see how it plays on console. That is pretty smooth, except for that jerky transition after all of that. Am I gonna do my So if you've seen the rest of my videos, you know I like to extend out and do a little brake run so that I know where to tie off to. And I think I ended up putting the catwalks in this one. I know I forgot on my invert model, but I do end up putting them back on this one. Yep, there we go. There's the catwalks, and oh my goodness, it looks so realistic with them on. I absolutely love this game. The fact that I'm doing this on my console is insane. And hopefully you guys don't hear this fan too much. I'm going to push my laptop back a little bit. I know that was a complaint in one of my videos, that you could hear my laptop fan on the microphone. And I'm even going to build the airtime hill afterwards so that I know exactly where to tie off. And now all I have to do is create an airtime hill and somehow get this turn to retrofit and be long enough to tie off there, and we're almost done. Yeah, I really hope this fan is not very loud. Because I can definitely hear it, and I think this microphone might be sensitive. So if you're hearing that, I'm apologizing. But after this, let me think, what is the next coaster? I believe it's a B&M wing coaster. So after that, that's what you guys have to look forward to next. And then after that is an RMC. And honestly, I said this one comes out being the most realistic, but if you were to like just take a shot standing next to the RMC, it's pretty close to like, it could look like a Wicked Cyclone or a Joker model. Like I could see it being a realistic RMC model, 3 inversions. So that's pretty cool too. Like I said, just being able to create realistic coasters is absolutely amazing on this console. Being able to make your own inversions, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I did not use, when I was playing Planet Coaster on the PC, I did not used to be able to make my own inversions. Like, just be able to use the banking to invert. Like, I think it only went to like 120 degrees. For some reason, I couldn't use the banking to do what I needed to do. Now we're going to connect that, make us a nice little airtime hill. So to be the fact that you really have full freedom to do what you want now, and it feels smooth, or at least it didn't at the beginning, but I'm starting to get the hang of it now. It's absolutely amazing how the team has done this. Now, there are some glitches like you just saw in the game, and it's just really unfortunate when things like that happen, but it's not perfect. Porting this from PC, I'm sure, was a very, very difficult thing to do. And I ended up turning that into a block break. I didn't think to put 3 trains on it after I did that. I think I just kept it at 2. If I knew how to do a splashdown break, I would definitely add that to the dive coaster. So now I'm just watching it, seeing how it goes through. And I don't like that because it slows down and then like speeds it up a little bit. So I end up just turning the deceleration up or down a little bit so it goes further and doesn't slow down as much. I also, I haven't tried to do like a sloped main brake run. Like, as you've noticed in all of them, they're always like a straight section, so it does that airtime hill, and instead of being like Valraven and just having the whole brake run on the incline, I always have it go down into that. Maybe I'll try to do that on this Intamin Giga Coaster I built, if I build it. Like I said, this is just all theoretical. The fact that I did as much in this park, I'm very surprised, because I originally just planned to like make one coaster, get familiar with the coaster builder, and then hop in. But I'm actually really enjoying building these coasters and using the scenery. That also really helps, because I'm not really a scenery person. So placing trees and actually, you know, caring about the holistic look of the coaster has absolutely been a great experience, and it's really going to help me when I go into building my sandbox. There we go. I like the way that looks. So I actually don't think I end up changing the colors on this at all. And now this is just my first little ride POV with no scenery or anything. Oh wow, I even hid the windows. I must have thought maybe this one would be official or something. But this is just my first POV without the scenery, just seeing how it rides. This really helps me see where I need to smooth the ride out. That was pretty jerky. I still think that transition ends up being wonky in the final version. Like, there's no way to perfectly perfect a straight-on transition into a turn in this game. I feel like that definitely needs some work, and it honestly ends up needing work even when it's done. So there's that. So I think I end up trying to smooth out a few more things before I just start placing trees. Wow, the fact that I found out, or that thought I needed to smooth that out is pretty weird, because I thought I had it as stale as I could get it. So I'm smoothing this whole inversion out, just hoping that it can make the twisting as realistic as possible. Now, I will say every inversion I've handmade doesn't come out completely smooth, but I feel like if I stood there and spammed the smoothing tool, which is actually really enhanced for the console version, I felt like it did absolutely nothing for me on the PC version. I did not like it. I used it to make my coasters as smooth as possible, because my coasters always came out rough, and you see me placing rocks, which is something I rarely do. Like, not even just trees on this one. I wanted to have rocks, make it like sort of a, not a ditch, but you know what I'm talking about. Trench is the right word for it. But the smoothing tool in this just actually works way better, and I feel like that's something that they had to do to get this to be as enjoyable on console as they did on PC, but they did an absolutely amazing job of it. Like, it actually fixes things in my own buildings that I'm surprised that it's able to fix. So after we did the rocks to fix that, or to make that little trench by the first drop, obviously the next thing we're going to do is trees. And you see me, I've gotten a little bit used to the menu navigation, but that's obviously, the coaster builder is one thing, but actually navigating around the park and, you know, using obviously the camera I've gotten used to, but going through the menus and things like that is going to take a lot of getting used to. So even though, like, this is my third coaster and I feel like by now I should know what trees I use, I still have to completely, like, keep clicking random ones, because if I end up clicking like some of them, I get the really little trees that I do not want, because I would literally have to place a million of those for them to look realistic. There's also a tree that I have no clue which tree it is, but it's that light colored one that you see to the left. I use some of them on the invert. They have lights on them, like, so it's not just a tree, it's a scenery piece. I need to figure out which one that is, because, like, that's not really what I want, if that makes sense. So now I have two main types of trees placed. I don't want to have one or two types of trees placed. I want to have as many as I can, because I feel like that doesn't make it realistic if you just have one type around. So I place as many of those as I can, and, like, wow, just look at this start to shape up. The inversion is barely over the tree line, and just looking at this from afar is going to be amazing. So here's just my other POV, and smacked by 3 trees immediately. So I had to fix that and replace those. Again, my PC fan is revving up, so I hope you guys can't hear that. Or my laptop fan is revving up, so I hope you don't hear it too much. But we are actually getting extremely close to the actual POV. Just got a few more tweaks to make. And I'm telling you, turn up your volume when you watch this POV, because when you get to the base of that lift hill, like, the audio is actually extremely realistic, I would say, for that piece, for this coaster. But with that, I'm just placing a couple more trees, and of course I'm going to come back and do my outro and everything, but I'm going to be quiet because it is finally time to see the POV of this dive coaster that I feel like came out pretty well. So there is the POV, and of course nothing I ever make is going to be perfect, especially that last inversion is just extremely wonky, and I look at it and I realize there's really nothing I can really do about that. Oh, do I take another ride on this? For some reason, I mean, just look at that. Never mind, excuse my for some reason. There's a reason I love to take a ride on this. I mean, just look at this view. This is on a console, guys. This isn't on a high-end PC. I made this on my Xbox. Look at that invert. That's why that's my favorite ride. Just the way it rises above the tree line and the wooden coaster in the background. I mean, this is just absolutely to die for. Like, this is I wouldn't want anything else in a theme park game except an experience that is as immersive as this, that makes me feel like I am in the park and just makes me proud of what I built just because it looks so good. And then we get the bad arrow with no trees, but don't worry, I end up putting trees by that before I filmed the video. But I mean, just look at this right here. This view right here is just absolutely stunning to me, and I could sit here and I could look at this all day because I feel like it's half realistic, the way it goes into the dive loop and the drop and the way it's shaped. I feel like this could be a real dive coaster. I mean, like, and I'm not even being cocky. I love the fact that you can make things like that in this game. Obviously, the crazy hang time of the century. There's probably more hang time on that Immelman than on the inversion. At the end, I did end up changing the friction on this to 0.8. So, however, I did not use it in this one. You guys won't see any coasters with adjusted friction, probably to the Planet Coaster is Beautiful video, which will come out soon. But thank you guys so much for the amazing support in the last video. I'm going to leave you with this still shot of this nice, beautiful looking dive coaster. I will see you guys in the next video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you soon.
Can you catch me now?